Each week contains 168 hours of time. How we spend this time each week determines if we can maintain the ability to decide how we spend our time. This decision determines if we obtain better options in the future or less options. How we spend each hour determines who we become, the value in our life, and how much happiness we can harvest. Our most important resource is time. There is an art to crafting time so that the direction of your life turns in a more specific positive direction. The PRN hours we experience each week represent the time we are truly living life. Moreover, the PRN hours represent the effort we spend to really become the person we always wanted to be. PRN equals positive reinforcement number. Hello, I am Master Yao, the founder of Grand Trine. This year we've made a lot of changes in our system. A lot of people keep asking me, what is Grand Trine? So I want to shed a little bit of light onto it. I'm going to do it in 8 simple steps. Number 1, Grand Trine creates a life map for each person taking a course, and this life map is layered. The system divides life into 4 sectors: money, sex, relationships, and tribe. And the thing is, each course only deals with one of these sectors. The system defines a goal for each of these 4 sectors. So each sector has a goal. Number 4, each goal is redefined because we want to aim for the best. We want to aim for the optimal state in each sector. Number 5, each system teaches you the secret to how to achieve that goal. Number 6, we want to understand that the system is layered. In other words, there's a tier 1, a tier 2, a tier 3 for each sector. And this is significant because it allows you to go a little taste of it, or you can go hard. Number 7, we'll find that each course is very different. The content of each sector is very different from the other sectors. So you almost don't recognize some courses by looking at others. But it has to be that way because we take the approach that works. Number 8, while the content is different, there are 3 common denominators in each program. Number 1, there's the life map component. Number 2, there is what we call an energy management component. We teach you how to manage the energy. Number 3, there is a system of catalysts that we introduce which trigger a transformation. And this is central to the success of Grand Trine. That's the system, those 4 steps, those 8 steps. That's the system right there. Now it gets, when you start, moving that around and fleshing it out and turning it into an actual program, there's a lot more to it than that, of course. But that's the core, that's the skeleton of the Grand Trine system. So let's talk about each tier a little bit better so you see what you're getting for your money. Tier 1, you can complete it in 2 weekends. It's an introduction to the general system, and it's going to give you enough information about that particular sector of life so that you can advance in that area of your life. Tier 2 takes about 8 weeks to 12 weeks to complete, depending on the sector. This sector focuses more on energy management. It teaches energy science. And what do we mean? We're talking about money energy. We're talking about sex energy. We're talking about relationship energy, which is polarity energy. We're talking about tribe energy. Tier three, that's a special bird right there. Tier three is a little more intense, a lot more complicated. Takes about 16 weeks to 24 weeks to complete one of those programs, and they're very different from tier one and tier two. In tier three, we introduce a special catalyst into the subconscious that brings about a major transformation. Your life's going to really change. And what you're going to find is that after you go through this type of work, there's certain things that are activated in your DNA. And you're going to see that everything looks different and you have much greater success with everything that you do, not just in that sector, but throughout Grand Trine and throughout your life. Major upgrades in your life are going to follow. All of these programs are indigenous and organic in nature. You should take control. You should begin to control the parameters of your life. Go to our website and sign up. Enroll today. Go to www.grandtrine.com and start a new journey. I am Master Yao. I hope to see you. Thank you.
It's so much that really I could say, but if I wanted to just narrow it down, I'll just say if people can actually see where I come from, the things that I've been through in comparison to where I am now is nothing short of a miracle. And the reason why I say that is because my upbringing was real strict. It was a strict religious house that I come from. But even though that was the case, I always had questions. I always felt, that I was different. It was something more. It was something being held back from me. Well, fast forward to about 10 years ago, when I left the religion, I was a Jehovah's Witness. I went on a spiritual journey. I started researching and studying all types of different systems. I was spiritually evolving, but I knew I was digging for something. I was looking for something. I was looking for answers. Well, uh, I come into contact with Grand Trine.
Hey y'all, I'm Dr. Candice. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and sex therapist, and I am also a shamanic tantric healer, heart worker, energy healer, and medium. And I have been with Grand Trine for almost 2.5 years now. And the way that I found Grand Trine was through um, someone that knew someone who was in Grand Trine. So, I had a couple of readings done over the years. I got my very first reading in 2018, where she told me I need to, amongst many things, to look into Eastern indigenous practices as it relates to sexuality and Tantra. And so, I thought about it, then I forgot about it, and then came back a couple years later. I got another reading where she told me I was operating my true self as a healer. Didn't really know what that was about. I did a past life regression. I just saw a person who was touching people and healing them. So I really didn't know what that was. Then I got another little brief reading, literally maybe a couple months after that. And she told me that based on my ascending sign, because my sun is Aries, but my ascending is Scorpio, and that I'm a sex therapist, that she told me that I was a sensual goddess and then I was supposed to look into tantric healing practices. So, that was what prompted me to reach out to the person that I knew who knew the person who knew about Grand Trine. With Master Yao. So, from that point, he and I had a conversation, and that's why in that conversation, it was really great. And then we got enrolled into the what was it, Navigating Womanhood course, and they had a Navigating Manhood course, and then we all came in together. But he and I in our first conversation talked for almost an hour, where, you know, I told him I had no idea what this was. I didn't know what it entailed. It was just I was led here as a purpose for my life and for my soul's purpose as well, that this was something that I was always meant to do. So, you know, I took a couple of classes, high level orgasm, Tantra 360. That's where I became officially certified, which was super exciting because I'm big on credentials, obviously, with what I have. But the way I would say that Grand Trine and Tantra has changed my life. It's just really transformed me to be the person who I was always meant to be, to recognize and understand my gifts, which was something that I ran away from for the longest time for fear of shame and being judged. I ran away from my gifts. So I recognized that in doing this, it felt right. That it was the missing puzzle piece to not just my healing work as a therapist, as a sex therapist, but also to my life. That it changed my perspective about how I seen things, about how I see myself, about how I saw my relationships, and how to not only practice what I preach, but to, also, demonstrate that for others to say, hey, what is it that she's doing? I want a piece of that. So I thank y'all for listening to that. And that is my experience with Grand Trine.